Our most sacred and beloved Heavenly Father, we come before Thee and we're grateful for this opportunity to reunite and reacquaint as family and friends in loving memory of our son, brother, cousin, grandson, Taylor Wilcox. We're so grateful for the blessing he's been in our lives and for the bright light that he has been from the time of his birth, and for the magnificence of his life, and for his strength, his courage, and the wisdom he has shown in his life to overcome many obstacles. We're thankful for the privilege of having him in our lives, and we ask that Thou would watch over him, And we commend him to thy loving care, that he will walk with you and loving members of his family in joy and happiness and in peace. We pray that he will know of our united love and our care for him at this time. We pray that he will walk and fulfill his purpose and his destiny, that his light will now continue to shine throughout the eternities, and the work that he is meant to do, he will be empowered and enabled and strengthened to move forward, to continue to bless the lives of this family and others that he's ordained to bless. We ask thy comfort upon this family, that we might feel of his love and thy comfort and care as we strive to move forward each day in our lives. Without this young man with us here, I pray that we can feel his love and presence. We commend him to thee with our love and gratitude, and ask thy protective care upon him in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I think we'll forego the reading of the obituary. It's a little heavy for Taylor. He was not into heaviness and mourning. That was not his scene. He wanted to keep things light and happy because of his nature and personality. So, neighbors and dear friends and family, we want to welcome you and thank you for being here. We know that many of you have traveled great distances to be here and made sacrifices to be here, and we're so deeply grateful for that sacrifice. We feel of your love. Our family feels of your love and your prayers and your support. You wonder if it makes a difference, and I can tell you it does make a difference. And we're so grateful for your kindness and your generosity of spirit to be here. Taylor requested this kind of secondarily. Vicki and I were kind of in the traditional funeral mode, and became very apparent that he didn't want that. And so we wanted to hold this celebration of his life and have some wonderful memories. What we'd like to do is we have some light refreshments that have been prepared. We would like to have you step up, get some refreshments. Well, the way we'd like to do this is have you sit down, and then if anybody who'd like to share a story, a thought, a memory, we would really love, Taylor would love to hear that. And he will laugh just as much as any of the rest of us from that experience. If you'd come up and introduce yourself, I'll go over this again in just a minute, but if you'd introduce yourself and how you knew Taylor, that would let everybody kind of in on the relationship that you had with him, and then feel free to share a story Again, we appreciate you so much being here. It means more to our family than we can possibly express. During this time of grief, the love and support get us through this. We would encourage everybody at any time that you're comfortable to go ahead and start getting refreshments. And then I'll take a minute, share a thought or two, and then we'll turn it over to the group to share a few thoughts. Go ahead and jump up to the buffet. We would like to take a few minutes, as we talked about, and I want to express again, as I was looking around the room, how many of our friends, dear friends and family have come from great distances. And even if you came from Salt Lake, you've made sacrifices to be here today from work and family commitments, and we're so grateful for that kind sacrifice that you've made. Words can't express what it means to have support and love at a time like this, and so we're very grateful that you're here. I'd like for just to take 1 minute, if I can, if you'll indulge me as the dad, and share a couple of thoughts that I had about my son this past week. Being a father, I want to make sure people know, I as we always say, you know, wasn't a perfect father, but perfection, that's all an illusion anyway. But one thing I hope my children know is that I love them unconditionally. And we've gone through, like many families, different challenges, but I love my children unconditionally. And I'm so proud of each of my boys for the strength and courage that they've shown this past week as they've had to come to terms and grips with the passing of their brother. It happened very suddenly, and the boys didn't have an opportunity really to adjust to that concept, and we all had to come to it fairly quickly that he wasn't coming back. And I think Taylor's wish was to go quickly, and that he did. We spent a couple of days in the hospital until the doctors determined that there was really no option left for us to pursue medically. And one of the things that I'm most proud about of my son is his courage, his resilience, and his optimism. Taylor went through some challenging times in life, and he always came back with positive attitude, resilience, courage. Dad, I'm going to do it different this time. This is how I'm going to do it, always with a smile on his face. And he came back, and he just was such an example to me. And I told him once, and I still hold this, he probably is the bravest and most courageous person I've ever known. And we're so grateful that he went out on a high note in his life, working we have many friends here from the restaurant, and all of these two tables here have come to support him. He was so happy working at the restaurant, and he was thrilled, actually. It was the highest point of his life working. He was having a great time. His life was in order. He was healthy and doing so well. I want to just acknowledge his beautiful mother and his brothers for putting this together, because this took a lot of planning, and they were diligent in their efforts to make sure that it reflected Taylor's wishes. When we were sitting in the room, I'd like to share just a personal experience. We were sitting in the room with the organ donation team, and when Vicki and I found out that he was an organ donor, we were both fairly adamant that that was not going to happen. As we became very protective of our little boy at that point, and felt that he'd been through enough, and that wasn't something we were comfortable with. And we had told the donation team, and they were very gentle and very kind and very, very professional, and told them that we'd already made up our mind, and that was just the way it was going to be. And as we were sitting in the room, Taylor made it very, very clear in his own unique way that it was his wish, and it's what he wanted, was to be an organ donor. And it really felt it was in keeping with his personality, because he loved to give and make people happy, and the fact that other people could live and go forward because of him was really quite a beautiful concept. And when we understood that those were his wishes, we then stepped aside and went through the preparations, and it was not an easy time for him or the family. It's a fairly lengthy process, and they're kept on life support for several days while they do the tests. And the team was amazing. We're so grateful for their work. As we watched this young man brave through more time and more tests, and in Monday evening was taken into surgery, but we're so grateful that his life can continue in the lives of others, and that they're perhaps rejoicing now because they have organs that kept their family members alive. And that is just one more step in his amazing courage. I just want you to know that being a father is the greatest gift I've ever had in my life. of all the gifts and blessings that I have enjoyed in my life and the hardships I've endured, as we all have in our lives, each of us go through tough times, my children are the greatest gift and blessing that I've ever been given. That's no different with Taylor. There's a beautiful song that said they came with glory trailing from their feet. And he did. And he's gone back the same way. And we feel comforted to know that he's with family. And if you'll share a brief personal, I know that he lives, and I know that he lives because of the Savior, Jesus Christ. And I'm so grateful for the knowledge that I have of my faith that strengthens me that I'll see my son again one day, and that we will live as an eternal family unit. And I'm grateful for the Savior that makes that possible, for without him it wouldn't be. And the blessings of the restored gospel. We're so grateful to have you here, and we would open this opportunity for you to share stories if you'd like. And the mortuary will keep us on a timeline so that we're respectful to them and their needs. But we would ask you to share whatever you'd like, hopefully nice, and just something that's heartfelt to you. We love this boy very, very much, and we send him off with our love. And following this, for those who would like to, and certainly not obligatory, we'll go to have a graveside farewell to him with another family prayer. So we'll open this up to you, and we'd love to hear from anybody that would like to share.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Tyler. Me and a lot of other people from Longhorn worked with Taylor for a few months. I actually knew Taylor years and years ago, like 14 years ago, when my younger brother Hunter used to play with his younger brother Chandler. So I used to pick up Hunter from Taylor's. And after he started working at Longhorn and we both found each other again, it felt like we hadn't seen each other in that long. You know, we picked it right back up, became friends again right away. So it was definitely a hit when we had heard what happened, and we all definitely miss and love him. And I just wanted to make it a little easier for everyone that couldn't get up here and talk, because I know it's not going to be easy being the first one, so. So I just wanted to say that I'm glad that we all got to be here for him.
Thanks, buddy. Okay, we're very close. Very, very close.
All right, my name's Hunter, and I'm Tyler's younger brother. Like you said, I knew Taylor back when I was in middle school, elementary school times, and it was mostly through knowing Chandler. He and I hung out a lot. We were really good friends back in the day, and after middle school, we just kind of had to go our own separate ways. We went to different high schools. We just kind of had to make our own lives. And I started working at Longhorn back in 2016-ish, and just earlier, I guess later in 2017, I came into work and I was training this new guy, Taylor, to be an essay. And I was like looking at him, I was like, there's something really familiar about you, but I can't figure it out. And so I just kind of went on, didn't really mention it, and just kind of kept going on about the training. And then I finally just had to sit there. I'm like, okay, what is your last name? And he told me it was Wilcox, and I'm like, that's it. Your brother's Chandler. And he and I both sat there and we were like, oh, that's right. That's how we knew each other. And right off the bat, we were just like Tyler said, it was just right. It was as if we just didn't talk for a couple of weeks, and we just went straight back into talking to each other like we'd known each other forever. And he was just such an approachable guy. He was very kind and accepting of everybody. And he always had a very positive outlook, like he said. And it was, no matter what happened with any of his tables or any of his guests, he always made sure that they were happy. And even if it didn't end up working out too well with them, he always just came back to it with a better attitude, thinking of how he can make things better and keep future guests happy. And that was something I really admired of him. And he never let negative people bring him down. He was just a really good guy, and he'll be dearly missed.
I don't want you to be shy. I don't want you to be shy. I want to hear all the secrets. Okay? As Taylor got older, he'd say, Mom, did you know I did this? Or do you remember this? Well, this is really what happened. So it's confession time. So if you have any fun stories that you want to share, but we really do want this to be memorable, and we want to talk about him, and we want to be just remember all the fun times. I have a lifetime of memories about him, and but he was just such a bright light in our lives. And I will talk again, just so you know, I'll be up here again. But I just want to encourage you to come and share anything you don't have. And I just want this to be a beautiful celebration about him. So don't be shy, because he wasn't, okay?
My name is Jodine Arakalian, and I'm Cassidy's mother. Even though Taylor and Cassidy were together for only 6 months, it seems like that they were a perfect match. He was positive where she's negative. And she'd learned that negativity from me. But one of the things that I appreciate most about Taylor was how he was so encouraging of her. He was so positive with her, which, as a mother, I appreciated so much. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with Taylor, but the time I did spend was very meaningful. Just 3 weeks ago, Taylor and Cassidy drove me home from the hospital. And he was, I truly believe that Taylor saved Cassidy's life. And I appreciate him so much for that. I can't imagine what Scott and Vicki are going through. Because my brain just won't go there. But I also want to thank his family that they have been so accepting of Cassidy. They allowed her to be with him in the hospital day and night. And we're just so generous to her, even though she wasn't part of the family. So I just want to thank them also. And I wish I had time to get to know Taylor better. But what I knew of him, I really loved and appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leslie Murray, and I'm Vicky's dear friend and Taylor's lifelong biggest fan. I remember when I first met the Wilcox family, we spent a lot of time in the living room for presidency meetings. Chandler was just this bare butt kid running in and out of the living room. He was the baby. And Taylor was the one that would just kind of bounce in and out of the living room with some story of some adventure he was having with the neighborhood kids. he never landed. That's what I remember. He would come in with all of this boundless energy in this tiny little body and share with us whatever was going on, and then he would be out just as fast as he came in. And I loved him from the beginning. Later, I had a chance to be in Taylor's carpool. We were going back and forth to Churchill Junior High. And my favorite place to have Taylor was in the front seat. Because, Vicky's saying, hey, I want to hear the secrets. And just so you know, I've known all the secrets since about 7th grade. Because I had a chance to have Taylor in the front of the car with me. And what I appreciated about Taylor from the very beginning was just how real and authentic he was. There were really no secrets for Taylor. He didn't have a filter. But it wasn't inappropriate. It was just, I don't know, just in a world right now where we're always trying to put forth our best selves and put on the mask so that we're accepted in the world and social media and all of this. And it was just like Taylor knew he was enough without having to worry about being anything other than who he was. And I appreciated that so much about him from the very beginning. I'm a better mom because of Taylor. As Taylor was struggling with some things later on in his life, he was very open with me about those experiences as well. And I learned through Taylor what I could do for my own loved ones that were struggling with similar issues. He was so available to me. And sometimes I didn't always like the things I heard because they broke my heart, but at the same time, I wouldn't have been able to be the mother that I was to my own children if Taylor hadn't been so open with me. And I will always be forever grateful to Taylor for that. I didn't know about this love of Broadway that just came. I think it came with you, Cassidy and I, but I would have loved to have shared his Hamilton experience. And so I was there the night before you were. And I'd just like to tell. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robin Wilcox, Taylor's aunt, and from California. And I want to tell you that I bonded with Taylor when he was born. Okay, when he was born, I think it was just a couple of weeks after he was born, I came to Salt Lake City to help Scott and Vicki take care of my father, who was staying with them at the time, and the kids and the new baby, and that was Taylor. And so I bathed him and fed him and dressed him and rocked him to sleep with Vicki and bonded with him. And so it was a very special connection that we had. He used to come visit me in the summer, and we'd go to San Francisco, and I took him parasailing for the first time, and we were best buddies. Sweet, joyful being. He knew who he was in touch with his emotions, he was completely capable of communicating his feelings at any moment, and he was honest. I love him, I'll miss him the rest of my life, and can't wait to see him again. And I want to thank everybody, and Vicki and Scott and the family, the boys, for everything they did to put this together so we could come together again and celebrate him. Thank you. This is my sister, Laura.
This is my big sister, Robin.
Only by 9 months.
It's true that Robin was really connected to Taylor, and it really was hard for me, and I was always really jealous. And so when Ethan was born, I said, this one's mine. Oh, yeah, I did. I love these boys. I love these boys so much. Ethan was so upset one day in the hospital, and he said, this isn't right, because there's 4 of us, not 3. Ethan, there are 4 of you, and you continue to say that. When someone says to you, how many siblings do you have? You say, there are 4 boys. Always. Taylor was an amazing boy. He is an amazing boy. He has the biggest heart, and I would say that to people all the time. Whenever I would see him, whatever event or whatever time that I would see Taylor, and Robin can attest to this, he would come up and grab you and hug you. Sometimes he would spin me around. He would hug me so tight. And he is an amazing boy, and will continue to be. This man, I guess, he'll always be a boy to me, but with the biggest heart, I loved him for that. I don't really have a story. I have a horrible memory. Not like Robin. I don't remember, and Scott, who remembers coming through the birth canal. I don't remember these kind of things, but I just loved him for the boy and the man that he was, and for this heart. He could be broke and not have 2 nickels to rub together, but if you asked him for his shirt, he would give it to you. I so admired the heart that was in that boy. And I loved him with everything that is inside of me. And I'm so grateful to have had him in my life. So grateful. Thank you, Scott and Vicki, for the opportunity to have that boy in my life. I watched my mother lose a child, and I watched what it did to her. Please, please, remember what a fine boy and young man he was. Please take those memories and make every day wonderful by the remembrance of the memories, and have joy in your life. Please, Vicki and Scott, do that. Please live your lives every day for these 3 boys that you have that are so amazing and so wonderful and so loving. And remember that. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lisa Walls, and I am Taylor's boss, or one of 4 bosses, actually. I'm the service manager. So Taylor and I actually had a really interesting connection. He and I started at the restaurant at basically the same time. We started the same week. And in fact, when my boss, our managing partner, Alex, gave Taylor his orientation, I was there to learn and to, figure out how I'm supposed to then do servant orientations from then on. And I just remember Taylor just being so focused. Like, he was really excited to be at Longhorn, and he wanted to do well. And he started as a SA, as Hunter said, as a service assistant, and then wouldn't stop bugging me until we made him a server. So I was like, all right, I'll give you a go. I'll see how you do. And one of my fondest memories of Taylor was his very first night as a server at Longhorn. Very first night when he was flying solo. They go through 5 shifts of training. And his very first day, his very first table, as a matter of fact, I was walking around the restaurant doing what we call table touches, basically, making sure that, all of our guests are happy and that we cooked all their food properly and that, everything is going swell. And I happened to stop by at Taylor's first table, and it was 2 young women, and they kind of were like, come down here, because Taylor was standing like 6 or 7 feet behind me. And she looked at me and she said, I just want you to know, had he not told me it was his first day, I would have thought he'd been serving for years. She said he was attentive, he was sweet, he was funny in a good way, and he wasn't overbearing, he was attentive, and I just was thinking, yes, yes. I was so excited. And that continued to happen throughout the course of his time at Longhorn. And I am standing up here, looking in front of 2 tables of my team members. And I know the boss is supposed to be strong for the team, but gosh dang it. But he meant a lot to everybody, and those that were not able to be here. And it's very surreal for me because I was in charge of his schedule. And I remember when he told me about the surgery, he said he was going to be out for a few weeks, and I told him, I said, no, don't be a hero, Taylor, and come back too early. I said, make sure that you're fully healed, because I do not want anything bad to happen. Because any surgery is a big deal, and I wanted to make sure that he was okay. And so it breaks my heart that I'll never get to put him on my schedule again. But Vicki, I need to tell you, and I haven't cleared this with my boss and I don't really care, but you have a lifetime supply of blackberry lemonade anytime you want to come by. Cassidy told me that story and I was just like, what? So anytime you want blackberry lemonade, and anytime you and Scott want to come in, or you and your current husband, excuse me, ever want to come in, your dinner's on me. He will always be part of our Longhorn family. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my mum and Auntie Vicky were best friends, and they grew up in New Zealand together. And then they both moved to America and had kids at the same time. And so Auntie Vicky's boys my mum had 4 daughters, and so her boys are our brothers. And I just have such good memories of always being with them and going over to Uncle Scott's and Auntie Vicky's house and playing with the boys. And it wasn't so lonely because we didn't have any family up here, and they were our family. They are our family. And then we grew up and we didn't see them as much, and now we have our own kids, and so we never see them. But I still love them so much, and they're still our family even though we don't see them. The last time I saw Taylor we went to dinner with Auntie Vicky and Taylor it was a couple years ago, which is so too long, but that was the last time. And when me and my sisters went to dinner with my mom, and when he saw us, he just gave us the biggest hugs, and we hadn't seen him for so long, but he just gave us the biggest hugs, and it was so beautiful that we got to sit down and talk to him all throughout dinner, and he was just so interested in our lives, and he's so open to us. It was like he had no walls up, and he was so warm and loving to us, and it was just so beautiful to be able to get to know him as an adult just for a little while. And I'm so sad that he's gone, and I hear everyone's experiences from him about him being such a loving person with a huge heart and just an open and kind person, and that's how I remember him. And I know that I'm so happy that families can be together forever, and that's all I have to say.
Everybody's sharing lovely memories, and the last time I saw Taylor, I think it was the last time I saw Taylor, was in Teesdale when he came down to visit. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm the grandmother. I'm the nana. But yes, Vicky brought Taylor down to visit me in Teesdale, and I was trying to think the other day, what did we do? But I remember we went to the farmer's market and we got goat cheese and some fresh made bread, and we came back and we had 2 bottles of the balsamic vinegar and olive oil, which Taylor and Lucia sent from Spain for me. And I had it sitting on the counter, and so we really didn't enjoy talking and dipping the bread and eating the goat cheese. But the memory I really wanted to share with you that makes me smile is when Chandler and Taylor came with Vicky to St. George to Sun River when I was down there for a short time trying out to see if I liked St. George. And they let the guests go swim in the pool. You know, they give you like 2 hours or something in the day where you can go down there with your guests. And I remember Taylor hammering Chandler. I mean, they're in the pool. Chandler is lucky he didn't drown, because his brother was just giving him such a hard time. I really felt sorry for Chandler. I was saying, Chandler, get him, Chandler. Yeah, but unfortunately Taylor was a lot bigger than Chandler was at that stage, which makes me think about him physically. He was solid. I'd say he's like a rugby player, being a New Zealander. He could have been a rugby player. His legs were, he was just amazing. And so when he did give you a hug, you were lucky he didn't hug you with all his strength, because he was, oh my gosh, it was like, oh, Taylor, because he hugged you so firmly. He went all out sharing, giving you love. He was that. I know several people have said, and it's absolutely true, he didn't have any barriers. He might not have seen you for a long time, but didn't make any difference. He was Taylor. And I have to say, just thinking about him, that he was extraordinary, because he didn't give up about anything. I mean, he went through some very hard times after he became a teenager and hurt himself physically with his back through dancing. And he went through some really, really hard times, but he never gave up. He'd go out for 4 interviews for a job in one day and get turned down for one reason or another, but he was out there the next day looking for that job. He was an amazing example of determination. Yeah, and I'm really sorry that he's not with us anymore, because I felt like he was on the verge of turning to a new chapter in his life, and things were going so well. And I heard about Cassidy and him cooking in the kitchen together, and I didn't see them because I live, 3.5 hours away, but I would hear through Vicky what they were up to and what they were doing. Anyway, I want to just say that I'm going to miss him terribly. Anyway, let someone else speak.
My name is Emily. Can you hear me? I'm Taylor's cousin. One of the earliest memories I have at all is we had a sleepover in the basement of Auntie Vicky's house when I must have been 4 years old, I think. And I don't remember a lot, but I do remember that the rule was that we were supposed to go to bed. And we're like, oh no, man, we're gonna go crazy. And we had like a DuckTales marathon. Growing up, Taylor was always like so cool. He was just kind of this like unattainable person who just was just this little awkward cousin running around, and I just thought Taylor was the coolest person. And we didn't connect it until I think we were a little bit older. And the last time I saw Taylor was on that trip when he had gone down to go see my Nana, and Auntie Vicky and Taylor picked me up from the airport because I had just come back from France. And something that really cool had happened is while I was in France, I was like completely immersed, and I was trying to learn French, and it was a really great experience, but there was some really things that were really hard because when you can't express yourself in a language, you lose a set of your personality a little bit, and that had been difficult to explain. And when we were coming back, Taylor and I started talking about his experiences in Spain, and I like mentioned that, and he got it, and I think he's one of the few people who really we connected at that moment, and I really needed that coming back from France and feeling like I couldn't really express myself and having that frustration. And it was just a really great moment for Taylor and I as we kind of talked, and we talked about culture and all these sorts of things, and I felt like we were finally had connected, and we were kind of really good friends instead of just kind of the cousin I thought was just super cool and kind of above me in a lot of ways. And I'm really grateful that I had that with Taylor. And I'm going to miss him a lot. I just like to express my love for my family and my cousins. And for Taylor. And thank you.
Hello there. I'm Chandler. I'm his little brother. Okay. Oh, yes, you're right. Oh, that's right. Nana did adjust it, so I can. There we go. See, I was a stage tech. I should know this stuff. I've just kind of been here listening to everybody's experiences, and they all, I don't know, they just keep making me happier. And, I've always had an interesting experience with Tay. I got to see him in full spectrum of his life, and, from when he was very young to now. And I just want to talk about how really amazing that is for just to be able to see that. And it's no secret, Tay always, he had his struggles. But I find myself in this hard time taking pride in the fact that I got to be there with him, through all of it. It's because living with my mom is a lot of the time it's just me and him with the brothers for the time being. And he was always in and out of the house. But when you could tell, every time he came back, he kind of had his tail between his legs, but it wasn't hard. I could never stay angry at him. And there's this one thing that's always kind of stuck with me with Tay, and I think my dad was working up in Portland, and he went up to visit him all by himself. Yeah, that was right. Yes, okay. But being Taylor, being who he is Mr. Charismatic. Can talk anybody's ear off. And I just hearing that story, he was sitting down with somebody on the plane, and he just started chatting with them, and the whole ride they just kept talking. And I think I was 6. To me, that was like, holy crap! You talk to somebody, okay? And that really inspired me, to try to become more like Taylor. And I feel like I've always kind of been chasing his shadow and just being trying to be like Taylor. It's because he's always kind and so generous. I can't find the words to encapsulate him, But he's the quintessential older brother, He's always there. He taught me how to shave. Even though I didn't have any facial hair to shave, he still taught me. But I just want to close on the note that no matter what, Cassidy said it. He got kicked down so many times, but he kept getting up, and the word he used was jaded, and I was just like, I find that to be amazing, because I got to see everything, almost everything, that he went through, and to know that he came out on top and stood strong until the end, it makes me very happy. But I'll get down so other people can talk.
My name's Tammy. I'm a friend of the family and a really close friend of Vicky's. And our boys used to play a lot together. They lived in the same neighborhood. And I knew Taylor better as a child, but the one thing that I loved about him as a young man is that time meant nothing. Whenever I would see him, it's a big hug and happy to see me. And the one thing I really appreciate about Taylor is he allowed himself to be vulnerable. So he let you see his soul. And so many people, that's hard to do. And I think that's why he has so many people that connect with him and love him. I'm sorry for the family's loss. I know it's going to be felt deeply. But I also know, when he was living, he's still in your heart. And when we love somebody, they stay there, and he'll be forever in our hearts. Thank you.
So my name's Nick, and I work with Taylor. And on Taylor's first day, he immediately came up to me with a big bright smile and introduced himself. And we got to talking, and I was like, "Wait a minute, didn't we go to elementary school together?" And he started reminding me of and I went and I talked to you out in the lobby. And he reminded me of all my elementary school teachers' names that I forgot. I was like, and I mean, Taylor was always so easy to connect with, such a great guy to talk to. We would talk about the most ridiculous things at work sometimes. But one thing I really like about Taylor is how he's positive and he never complains. And that is the polar opposite of me. I would see him get dish pit 5 days in a row. It's the grossest job at Longhorn. You have to you have to go scoop all this shit out with your bare hands. It's so nasty. And he would be doing it for 5 days in a row, not complaining. And I go up and I'm like, this is sexist. Why is this happening to Taylor? Why are all the boys getting the nasty jobs and the girls never have to do it? And Taylor's dead silent, he's just doing this job, right? And I'm like, no, the only reason Taylor's doing that right now is because Taylor has a dick. And Taylor just looks at me and he just raises his eyebrows yeah. Later I go over to him and I'm like, sorry, Taylor, I have to defend you because you're my friend. And he's like, yes, you are my friend. And I'm so honored to have had Taylor as a friend. He's such a great guy, and anyways, thanks.
All right, I'll start this. All of us up here, we're part of Taylor's childhood friends up in Sandy.
He's the one we picked on the most.
That is true. I am that guy.
He also represents us best, though.
Yeah, we all had a fun time hanging out with Taylor. We'd all spend several days together, hang out all the time, sleep over at each other's house, playing basketball, swimming in pools. We'd always play mini lacrosse in my backyard all the time and just have great memories. We'd always have sleepovers. They'd always make it be a scary movie because I hate scary movies every time. And Taylor lived at my house for a couple weeks on and off throughout childhood, and so we always got to be really close. And I appreciated his kindness and his ability to show love towards everyone, myself, and I'm really happy that he found happiness in his life, and that he overcame his troubles. Yeah, anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, the thing about Taylor is he always had a smile on his face, and when I was just bored, not doing anything, he would be the first person I'd call and go hang out with. I also remember he'd always have saltines and peanut butter underneath his bed for a little late night snack. So.
Taylor and I were paper route buddies, and I remember when we first started, Vicky would drive us around every day to throw the papers on the front porches, and about 2 weeks later we got our first paycheck, and we'd work for 2 weeks straight, and by the time we split it, it was about $13 a piece, and we just kept on doing it for 6 months. It wasn't very much pay, but it was kind of fun.
I think I speak for all of us. We'll definitely miss Taylor very much. We ran around as kids, just crazy. A lot of good things, some bad things, some weird things. But it was just all fun, and he definitely did bring a great addition to the group, and it was great times that I'll never forget with you and all of the Wilcoxes. We love you guys.
I will say that few people love their mom more than I love my mom. And Taylor's conversations started and stopped with Vicky. And I always really admired him because it was all about his mom and how he could make her more proud and do what he could for her. And I think we all learned from that. So we love you, Vicki. We're here for you. So if you ever need anything, cut, trim, anything, we're there. Yeah.
Okay, so Taylor and I met probably the end of November at Longhorn. The first significant time I remember flirting with Taylor, we were at our company's Christmas party. And he looked so cute in his little Utah Ute sweater. He was handsome. He's the most handsome. And of course, I didn't think he noticed me, but we got our little prizes from the Christmas party, and then we went and sat in our own little booth, and we just happened to be the only people in that booth. I don't know, I just thought that was a thing. I don't know. Maybe now, looking back. Anyway, I won some hot chocolate, and he won a bowling gift card. So of course that was a perfect segue for him to be like, okay, let's go bowling. And I was like, great, let's go bowling. So we bowled and we hung out for the first few weeks. We played Mario Kart nonstop in my house. And I actually have an ex named Taylor. So I've been calling Tyler for 2 weeks until he went ahead and corrected me. And I said, no, don't tell me your name is Taylor. But Taylor is by far and away the best Taylor I've ever met in my whole life. He's the most handsome, best Taylor, the kindest. I told everyone, so what's your new boyfriend like? Oh, he's way too nice for me. I don't know. I'm gonna bring him down, don't you guys worry. But he always brought me up. I always was so worried about making him negative, and he always made me more positive. I've never liked serving food, and I've never been proud of being a server. And Taylor's both of those things. He's, we make good money, and he's proud of, he doesn't care about the rest. And I just think that's so admirable. Everything that knocked Taylor down, he was never negative about it. He was always positive, never jaded. And I'm the most negative, and nothing like that has ever happened to me. When my mom said he saved my life, he absolutely saved my life. And every day for the rest of my life, I will think about what Taylor has given me. He taught me so much in such a short amount of time. And I am so, so, so grateful to have met him. He's the cheesiest, romanticest person I've ever met. And I love him for that. When, he told me there was a reason he was supposed to come back from Spain, and I don't believe in any of that. But he was like, I know there's a reason, and now I know what it is. And I'm like, well, it can't be me. But he always said that we were meant to meet, and yeah, I never ever would have expected this kind of gift from a person. I will live every single day of my life differently because of what Taylor's taught me. And I so, so badly want to live it differently with him. So, so badly. We were supposed to move in together, and we were supposed to move to San Francisco with Ethan, and we had so many good plans, and man, his babies, God, he would make beautiful babies. Oh, man. I will miss Taylor every single second of every day for the rest of my life, and he's the best person I know, and I'm so lucky to have had him for just a minute. Thank you guys all so much for coming and supporting us. It really means a lot to everybody. Thank you.
Well, I have to tell you, we waited a long time for Taylor to show up. His older brother came quickly, and then we waited almost 7 years. And we were overjoyed. We got this beautiful little redhead with alabaster skin, blue eyes, and auburn curly hair. And I never thought I would have such a beautiful baby. I just used to look at him and go, how did I get to have this beautiful baby? And people would stop and look at him, and he was happy. He was such a good baby. And he was such a good big brother. I mean, yeah, he was a tough big brother. But I feel so lucky and honored to be his mother. And I'm so proud of his level of determination and strength and just the grit he had. And it would break my heart seeing him struggle. And so I know that to honor him, that he and his brothers and we have to just keep moving forward, and we're going to be strong, and we're going to laugh together, and we're going to just remember all the good times, because we have so many good times. And I'm so glad for the experiences that I shared with him, because I learned so much from him. It was wonderful when I went to Spain, and when I got there and I could see him communicating. I, of course, didn't understand a word. And he's nodding and speaking, and I said to him, son, I can't believe how fast you're learning this language. And I was just so proud of him. And he had that gift of connecting with people everywhere he went. You've heard that. And I think that's amazing. He was just warm and genuine and real. And I'm just so proud of him. He always took care of me. We were definitely connected at the hip. And I can say I'm a little angry because I didn't want him to have this surgery. We just celebrated his birthday. I was looking forward to things just getting better and better, okay? Because we both had a hard year. He went to Spain, I went to New Zealand. Things didn't work out. We came back. Thankfully, we had my beautiful brother, Michael, who allowed us to live with him and take care of us. Oh, yeah, and that was just so meaningful, and he got to see a funny side of Taylor. They would start talking and making jokes, and we would just laugh. When I think of Taylor, I just think of joy. And when he smiled, he'd just light up the room, and he's just a beautiful soul. And I am truly grateful. I will miss him, but we're going to do our best, because I know he wants us to be happy. And I know that he wants everyone to be nice to everyone. Okay, we had a talk about that. We did. He came home from work, and I said to him, I watched this show about the restaurant industry. And we started having a long talk, and I'm like, okay, this is not okay. Who do we talk to about this? He was very concerned. There was someone, I won't use any names, in particular, and I thought, okay, well, how do we fix this? So you show respect, and you show regard, and you show love. You're a team. I want you to do that to honor Taylor, okay? You treat girls like they're special, and you show respect to each other. He was always very respectful to me, so I just had to put that out there. Okay, we're going to raise up but thank you so much for all being here. We just so love and appreciate you taking your time to be here and to honor him and remember him. And he will forever be in our hearts, and we just want him to know how much we love him and are grateful for the joy that he brought to us. He was just really an amazing person who just got up and kept going and kept going. And I just don't know how he did it. So I'm going to be telling myself, yes, you can do this. Taylor will expect this. He showed you the way, so you're going to have to do it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Get out there. Keep going. So I've got a great example in my son, and I have 3 other beautiful sons who are there for me and will be there for each other. But thank you again for coming. We so appreciate it. We hope that you've enjoyed thinking about him and honoring him and laughing. And he had a wicked sense of humor. Oh my gosh.
And he would recite, I have to tell you, he used to recite lines from movies. I don't know if he ever did that at work. Oh, and I go, okay, you've got to do that one again for me. And there was Home Alone. There's that scene where they're in the movie, and the little boy's got the movie playing, and we turned it into a catchphrase. And I don't know if you saw the mug up there, but I got it for him for Christmas, and he used to write it in his letters to me. He used to write it in his letters to me. Keep the change, you filthy animal. And I'd say it to him, keep the change, you filthy animal. So we had this really funny thing that was always going on, and I just remember laughing with him. It was great. So he was such a bright light, and we'll do our very best to carry on without him. And I'm so grateful that he was just at a really great time in his life, and he loved working at Longhorn, and he was successful, and he had friends, and so thank you so much for being a part of his life. I know it was for a short time, but it was really a great time for him. Thank you. I'm keeping all this stuff. I hope I'm allowed to keep it, the menus, and thank you. But Scott, did you want to say anything? His dad's in charge, but thank you again.
I'm not in charge. I've never been in charge. I've never been the boss. I know who the boss is. Always very well aware that their mother was the boss. Thank you again for coming, friends and dear friends and family. Something I said to Taylor many, many times as we spent hours and hours and hours talking. I said, Bud, you've got a great work to do. There's something you're meant to do. He had, because of his ability, and one time he was talking to a judge, and the judge commented on what an amazing attorney he would make, because he was debating with the judge. And he debated with all of us. But I've told him he had a great, great work to do, whether it was a social worker or something in the law or somewhere. We just didn't realize it was going to be on the other side. So he's off doing a great work, and we're very supportive of that and very happy for him. We want to thank you again for being here and the sacrifice you've made to be here and the warmth you've added to our lives by the stories you've shared. For those who feel it's appropriate, we are going to go out to the graveside, and we've asked a dear friend, Steve Harris, who's been a friend of ours for more years than I can remember because he's getting old. So we've asked him to offer a family prayer out there at the graveside, and then we'll let the mortuary do what they need to do. Is there anything you need to add, Audrey, to that? And want to take the balloons with you, and we'll release those. Did you want to do that at the graveside, Vicki? For those who want to go, we grab a balloon and take it with you. Thank you again very much.
Our Father which art in heaven, we are here on this rainy and windy Saturday afternoon to mourn and rejoice for the passing of Taylor Stephen Wilcox. Father, we don't understand everything. We don't understand why he was taken at such an early age, but we do know that thou lovest him, that thou art mindful of him, and that thou art mindful of us. we would ask that this spot where his human remains will be a sacred spot, a spot where people can come and reflect upon their relationship with Taylor and smile and think kindly of wonderful experiences that they've had with him. We ask you to bless this spot and bless all of us. Help us to understand and to take things on faith and to recognize and be in a position to recognize the potential, the great potential of Taylor being able to influence and be nearby and help guide us. We are grateful for his life. We're grateful for the things that we've learned from his life. And more than that, Father, we're grateful for thee and for thy Son, Jesus Christ. And we say these things and do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you.